Hello. Before I get into this review, I want to mention some things. First, summer is ending, which means a lot of my time will be consumed by homework, school stuff, and hockey, which I play by the way, meaning I'll have less time to go to the theater and work on these reviews, which take about 3 hours total if I work on them all in a row. Not to mention all the TV shows I'm caught up in and the video games I'm playing, but that's a whole different story. Bottom line is my videos will go up less constantly, and when they do, they might be movies I've seen a while ago because I have no time to go to the theater, but I still will. In fact, I'm positive I'm seeing Straight Outta Compton this week and want to review Trainwreck, which I already saw. Plus, there's always the internet to watch the new movies, but enough talking about me, let's get into the actual video. Hey, what's happening, friends? It's Geek Reviews, and today I'm going to review one of the 2 horror films I've seen that came out this year so far. Of course, Unfriended, or its original title, Cybernatural. It was directed by Levan Gabriadze, a name I probably just massacred, and a director that is a complete unknown to me. The main girl, Blair, is played by Heather Soseman, who's made appearances on NCIS and CSI and Hawaii Five-0, but other than that, she is also an unknown. The most recognizable person in this is Courtney Halverson, who plays Val. She's been in True Detective, General Hospital, Ned's Declassified Survival Guide, and some movies and TV movies here and there. That just about covers the cast. Well, there's more, but they're all unknowns to me. So, I guess let's get right into the story. I should mention, if you don't already know, this film takes place entirely on the main character, Blair's, computer screen. Everything you see that happens is on the computer screen. Everything. Pretty impressive, I know. So we open with Blair searching around the internet, providing exposition by watching 2 videos, one of which is a girl named Laura, extremely drunk at a party, the other is the same girl killing herself in front of everybody, with a gun. I don't know why. Maybe she wanted more attention? So Blair gets on Skype with her friends and an unknown person joins them. They ignore it before they begin to realize weird stuff is going on, and one kid points out that it's the anniversary of the suicide of Laura. Then the unknown person starts talking in the chat and begins killing them off one by one. That's it. Now onto the review. First, as always, the bad. And get comfy because we're going to be here for a while. First and foremost, the characters are stereotypical. You got your nice girl, the nice girl's boyfriend that really wants to have sex with her, the unstable kid that owns a gun, the fat stoner, and the mean girl. Actually, 2 mean girls. Well, 3 mean girls, I guess. They could have had fun with the stereotypes, but no, it wasn't satirical in the slightest, and the characters were so annoying. Moving on. The film took risks, which I admire, but risks come with consequences, and this risk had a lot of them. It stuck with these extremely annoying characters the entirety of the film. Once people start dying, they don't stop screaming and crying till they're dead, making me want them dead, which is not what a movie should do. Also, the exposition in this movie was poorly done, very much so. Whenever something needed explaining, Blair would just look it up. That doesn't make sense. If somebody's talking to you in Skype chat and they mention something that you were a part of, but they don't explain it entirely, do you look it up? No, unless you have the memory of Dory from Finding Nemo. Moving on. The kills were actually quite gruesome, which I admire for a film that is mostly going to be viewed by middle schoolers, but they weren't scary. They had me laughing out loud about how stupid they were, which would be all good, but the rest of the film tried to be as serious and realistic as the DC comic universe. Moving on to the commentary. Commentary doesn't belong in a crappy modern horror movie. It belongs in Oscar nominations. But this film upended it anyway. Commentary basically is don't cyberbully, which we've all heard a million times, especially if you're in school, and there is a simple solution to it. Log off. I don't want to sound cynical or offend anyone who's dealing with it. It's just that I've heard people talk about this issue above so many other things, and when a crappy new horror movie makes that the entire theme, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, as it is just a crappy new horror movie, but it gets me angry anyway. Don't get me started on the ending, which I would ridicule, but this is a no-spoiler zone, so too bad. Now moving on to the good. There actually was some pretty good and promising things in this film. Firstly, there were actually some good scenes. I won't go too in-depth on them to avoid spoilers, but the first one is the scene where everyone is turning on each other. It's actually pretty dramatic and was somewhat close to having me feel the slightest bit of emotion. Next, immediately before the first kill, there's a pretty creepy scene, and same goes with immediately before the second kill. I guess the prefaces to all the kills were pretty solid. It was the kills themselves that bothered me. Moving on. The conversations, despite how annoying they were, did seem pretty realistic for a group of high school kids. Next, the best thing about this was the risk it took. As I already mentioned, I admired deeply for doing so. The premise was pretty good and it seemed like a great idea on paper, but the execution from the first trailer just was pretty bad. When I watched it, it was pretty good atmosphere due to the fact that I was fortunate enough to watch this on my desktop. It really did create a new genre of horror, which I admire for it, but at the same time I resent it for it because I really don't want to see another film resembling this one. Anyway, they did everything I think they could do with this new genre, and it didn't work out. I know there's people that really like this film, but I think that's just because it's new and different. It doesn't mean it's a good film, and I can't help but borderline hate it. In the end, it's just another crappy jump-scare-filled film with a few redeeming elements, but ultimately it's a decent premise gone to waste.